and welcome back to my booktube channel, Lisa in Bookland. Don't worry, it's still me, just with a new haircut. Today actually I cut off a good length of my hair. I think this is about 14 or 15 inches to donate to the Little Princess Foundation. I had been growing it since 2019. Kind of accidentally because of COVID, but then I just decided to keep going. So yeah, it feels really different. I figure after I've edited all of this footage, I will get used to looking at myself with it and I'll no longer think it's strange when I look in the mirror. But yeah, anybody that's had a dramatic haircut will know what it feels like, and I've not even got it dyed. I've never dyed my hair yet, so yeah. Anyways, what you're here for is the bookish content. So as book lovers and as readers, I'm sure all of us have wished we could step inside the pages of a book and talk to the characters or live in the world for a while. That's what this video is about, I suppose. I'm trying to come up with a name for this video. I feel like some names I would like to give this video would give a different idea of what it's actually about. So yeah, maybe bookish situations I'd like to be in, but not in real life. As I said, things I'd like to do with characters, see what I mean? Or just worlds I'd like to live in, or specific situations I would like to be in some of my favourite books. So I think I have 8 books that I want to talk about, but I think, to be fair, I think this is a series that I'll do a video in odd time just for a bit of crack. It was just fun to imagine being able to do this. I've not read the Tilly and the Bookwanderers series yet, and I believe it's kind of this idea, so maybe I should prioritise that. But yes, these are just the ones that came to mind at the moment. So one of my favourite, or possibly my ultimate favourite, I don't know, one of my favourite books of all time at least, is Persuasion by Jane Austen. There are many reasons I love this book, but at least 2 of them are I really love Anne. I think that if I existed back in the Regency period, I would maybe have a personality kind of similar to Anne, but I probably wouldn't be quite so nice as Anne, but you know. So because I'm so invested in Anne and I love her so much, she would definitely be a character I'd want to have a really nice long chat with, and I think we would get on really well. I think some of the other characters in Jane Austen might be a bit exciting for me. I think me and Anne would get on very well. And of course, being such a lover of ships and of the sea, the chat I would like to have with her is after the end of the book. I would like to walk along the Hard at Portsmouth, which is kind of the seafront, with her, and just have a catch up, see how she's getting on with her new life at the end of the book. What's changed for her? Is she happy? Maybe we could look out at the ships that were docked at Portsmouth and she could tell me about some of them, or maybe we'd even get to visit one for dinner. Who knows? In my head, of course, if I went back to Jane Austen's time, I wouldn't be the class I currently am. You'd have to be an upper class lady or else it wouldn't be any fun. And in my head, while we were walking along having a chat, I would love to meet Sophie and Admiral Croft, because I love those characters so much and they're so warm and chatty, and yeah, I just love Admiral Croft in particular in the book. So yeah, we could just have the best time, I think. You know, maybe we could see Captain Wentworth, but I think he might be a bit intense for me. I think I'd like to keep it more lighthearted for this particular encounter, though. Maybe if it was a recurring visit to the book, we could get to know each other better. But yes, anyways, I got way too enthusiastic about that one. But yeah, I just love this book, and I would just really like a sequel to it to follow up with the characters and see how they were getting on. So the second book I want to talk about is actually the Nevermoor series, which I read last year, at the end of last year, and the book I'm particularly thinking about is the third book, Hollowpox, I think it's called. I think there is such a great scene in that book for bookish people, and there's a scene, it's set in a library, and it's just the coolest library of all time. I think I would like to be just given a tour of the library and given time to browse, and also just see the teams of book hunters going around dealing with hopefully not at all life-threatening or too dangerous situations. Just a nice level of excitement that wasn't life-threatening. That setting in that book was just marvellous. So yeah. So next up is Anne of the Island by Ella Montgomery, and to be honest, the whole Anne series, at least the first 3 books which I've read multiple times, I'd like to be in that world at any time. It's so cozy and everybody, or at least most people, are so nice, and again, I just really love Anne as a character. I think I was influenced by her an awful lot when I was younger. And yeah, I just like to meet loads of the characters. But the number one situation I'd like to be in, I think, occurs in this book. I'd love to hang out with Anne and her friends at Patty's place after a ball at Redmond. Anybody that knows me, I hate dancing. I find it so uncomfortable, and I can't deal with dancing. But at least modern dancing. But I think maybe, you know, if I was alive back in like the 1920s or 1910s, it might have been okay. But regardless, maybe I didn't dance at the dance. Maybe I just caught up with like Anne and Phil and Aunt Jamesina, and just we had tea and cake and just had a good gossip about who danced with who and what everybody was wearing, who had the nicest dress. I don't think they'd have been out that late. I don't know for sure. I don't know the ins and outs of socialising in Canada in the start of the early 20th century for college students. But yeah, I don't think it would have been too late, so not everybody would be so tired. But I think maybe we would have had a little bit of punch, so we'd all be a little bit giggly. And yeah, I just think it would be the most convivial, happy atmosphere ever. So yeah, I just love the idea of that. And yeah, the college scenes in Anne of the Island are some of my favourites. I just love Anne's Redmond days. So the next series I want to talk about, a particular favourite as well, and this particular book is HMS Surprise by Patrick O'Brien, which is the third book in the Aubrey-Maturin series. And to be fair, although like I wouldn't want to live full time on a naval ship with such danger and privation aboard and eating weevily biscuit and all that, I would love to experience some moments in this book, or just spend a while with Stephen and Jack, like while they're playing music or something. But the particular situation I'd like to be in is, in this book, a character who is one of the most endearing characters in the whole book. He's just lovely. Is promoted to lieutenant. He's made like Fanny's brother in Mansfield Park, and he is just so happy, grateful, excited. And Patrick O'Brien is such a wonderful writer and writes happiness in such a great way, and I just really would like to congratulate this character firsthand and just witness his happiness firsthand. I think it would do good for anybody's soul. So yeah, that is what I would like to do. I would just like to step into this world just for a second and say congratulations, sir. Wishing you joy of your new appointment. But yes, anyways, that is that. So next is a book I haven't read for a long time. I don't think I have it written down. But it's a book I really enjoyed when I did read it, and it's definitely one I'd like to revisit. And that's An Equal Music by Vikram Seth. And this book is just filled with music, and it's about a string quartet who played, you know, classical music. I used to play violin myself. I'll have to take it up again someday. So yeah, so I really enjoyed the musical aspects of this book. There's actually an accompanying soundtrack. But anyways, the one concert I would like to listen to in this book, or piece of music, is, as I said, it's been a while, so I don't remember all of the details, but there's this piece called The Art of Fugue, and I think was it unfinished or something, and it's usually played on piano. But anyways, this string quartet wants to perform it as a quartet, and you know, when you're following all of these characters so closely, you're all their rehearsals and everything, and they discuss, you find all the artistic process behind it, I suppose. But the one big barrier they encounter is, I think, the violist. You know, it needs to be a special kind of viola that's not available anymore or something. So she has to like alter her viola, which is obviously the instrument of her profession and is very dear to her. She like takes a risk to alter it to just like lower the tone, and I would just love to attend that concert and see whether it worked out, just because reading the book, you know, that performance means so much to them. So yeah, I just love to see the emotion when it happened. So yeah, really recommend this book if you're a music lover, because it's really excellent. I know that I haven't heard anybody talking about this. I've heard a good few people talking about A Suitable Boy, but I've not read A Suitable Boy yet, but this is a little bit shorter. This book is nearly 500 pages, but yeah, one for the music lovers for sure. And like, how many books that don't have an adaptation have like a dedicated soundtrack? You can find it on iTunes, or I'm sure Spotify. I have it on iTunes, but yeah, excellent. So next one, can't really give any spoilers for, again, But Far from the Crowded Crowd by Thomas Hardy, I just want to be at the wedding at the end, just jump straight to the happy stuff. And yeah, in my head I wouldn't be like invited as a wedding guest, I'd just be like going in to look at the church, just, you know, admire the architecture or whatever, just passing through the village. And I just happened to be there when the two people came in to get married, and I just like skulk around the back. And yeah, it's such a beautiful end to this book, and so rare for Thomas Hardy. It's just after so much strife and trauma throughout this book, for the two characters to get just such a beautiful ending, I just like to witness it. So yeah, I am a true romantic at heart. So the next situation I actually said as part of my original review for this book, because I would just want to do it so badly. I just wanted to go into the world so much, and that is, I would love to be given a tour of the house by Piranesi. Just his love and respect for the house that is like noticeably absent in some of the other characters in this book. I would just love to hear all of his little stories and all of the little ingenious things he's done, and yeah, give him all the attention that he deserves and just make him feel special. So the next one is a dream I've had ever since I read these books, and I don't think it'll ever go fully away. I always wanted to go to boarding school. It's a very odd thing to say, but it was like a dream of mine ever since I was small, and read so much Enid Blyton. And I actually, do you know, in the days before internet, I was so naive anyways, I actually didn't think that there were any boarding schools in Ireland in the present day, and like, not that I'd have got to go anyways, but you know, the root of most of that was this series, the Malory Towers series by Enid Blyton. This isn't my original copies. They were given to family friends who never gave them back, which everybody knows the pain of that, but these are ugly kind of reprints. But anyways, not that I think I'd have fitted in the boarding schools of these days. You'd have to be frightfully posh, but I would love to just spend a day or two in it, clashing personalities, little dramas, the like needlework classes. I always just thought it was fascinating that you'd have a class for needlework, because I'd love to be able to sew properly, and I was never taught to sew properly. We did a little bit in home ec, but not much. But anyways, I digress. Midnight Feast, of course. Lacrosse, I am terrible at sport, but we played lacrosse once or twice in PE in school. Lacrosse would not be a big thing in Ireland at all. But because nobody had played it before, I was at the same level as everybody else. So I actually really liked when we played lacrosse. But anyway, so maybe I would be good at lacrosse in Malory Towers. I don't think I'd be so good at hockey. Wouldn't you love to be a posh English school girl and go to one of these idealised boarding schools where there was no like deprivation of food or like cold dorms or anything that I'm sure that there was, and my granny went to a boarding school and, you know, it was pretty bad, I think. So, yeah, but like, you know, obviously Enid Blyton tells a different story, so we can just pretend, can't we? These are in such a random order. I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, so sorry about that. But this other one is also a very long dream of mine, and that is Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. Specifically, I would like to eat at one of the scholars' dinners in Jordan College at the start of the book. I don't know if anybody has seen the Dakota Fanning adaptation of Northern Lights. Of course, it's not great, but I don't think I ever got over that scene at the start of the movie of Lyra walking through the hall and like putting her finger along the glass. I don't know, I always wanted to go to a dinner like that, and just listening to all the scholars' conversations and everybody be dressed in academic dress. Again, I don't think I'd be clever enough to actually say anything, but I could just be quiet and mysterious. I imagine there'd be lots of really delicious, rich food. There might be like some music. Yeah, I just think it'd be really, really fun. And yeah, ever since reading this book for the first time, but especially since watching the film, I wanted to go to Oxford to look around. I did actually make it in 2019, and I was there for 3 nights. I was sick as a dog for almost the entire time I was there, so I would like to go back to Oxford and hopefully not eat whatever I ate that time. It's not quite Lyra's Oxford, and obviously I won't be having dinner in the colleges, but yeah, it's as close as you can get probably to walk around the quads of the colleges during term time. So the last book I've saved for last, because it's probably a bit of a cheat, and that's because I would like to intervene and change the plot of the book and the course of history, but that is The Terror by Dan Simmons. at one particular point in the story, they're discussing a strategy and where they'll go, and I would just like to pop into the cabin, be like, here's a map, and then pop out again. And yeah, that would be really nice. I didn't even know the history of the Franklin expedition before I read this book, but just when I saw that, when I was reading this scene, I just had such a sense of foreboding, and I'm like, oh god, they're making the wrong decision. So yeah, I would just like to change that. So that probably is cheating, to actually change the course of the book. But yeah, I was so traumatized after this book, I'm not even joking. I would not like to stay very long, as I said, just pop in, pop out, because I think the food would be even worse than in the Patrick O'Brian novels for various historical reasons. Very, very cold up in the Arctic, so yeah, I think I'd be better off just visiting for a brief period and being helpful. So anyways, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this very silly compilations of bookish situations that I'd like to be in. I hope I managed to find an appropriate title for this video, and yeah, I'd love to hear of the bookish situations that you'd like to be in below in the comments. So yeah, please let me know. And yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday for my next video.